XDC is a decentralized, open-source, and community-driven blockchain platform. Let's explore the innovative features, use cases, and benefits, and how it is revolutionizing the future. XDC is an EVM-compatible Layer 1 blockchain successfully running since 2019. It is a hybrid network that combines both public and private blockchain with interoperable smart contracts. It is built to meet the demands of real-world asset tokenization, modern finance, and global trade. Scalability is a fundamental strength of XDC. Powered by the XinFin delegated proof of stake, XDPoS consensus mechanism, and innovative architecture, the network can process up to 2,000 transactions per second, ensuring efficient and fast transaction settlement and enhanced performance. As the network evolves, it will continue to enhance its scalability and performance to meet the demands of all use cases. XDC simplifies cross-border and domestic transactions by eliminating intermediaries, thus reducing costs. The highly important global financial messaging ISO 20022 standard works effortlessly on the XDC network, enabling an advanced instant settlement solution that allows digital assets to be included in a message's payload. Payments also provides transparency and immutability, allowing all parties involved to view and track transactions in real time. This enhances transparency and reduces the risk of fraud or errors. The XDC network is designed for enterprise use, offering real-world decentralized applications that meet the requirements for businesses, organizations, and governments, such as smart contracts functionality, privacy, identity management, and regulatory compliance. Moreover, by connecting various blockchain networks seamlessly, it promotes seamless interoperability and facilitates integration and data exchange with private chains or subnetworks. This positively impacts the industries globally and makes the network suitable choice for sectors like finance, supply chain, trade finance, legacy systems, real-world asset tokenization, and more. Additionally, XDPoS2 is the most energy-efficient consensus that actively supports sustainability by enabling transparent carbon credit trading, contributing to a more environmentally friendly future. XDC Network has a thriving ecosystem supported by a diverse community of users, developers, enthusiasts, and industry experts. Through strategic partnerships with leading organizations and technology providers, XDC expands its ecosystem, fostering innovation, cross-chain compatibility, adoption, flexibility, and liquidity. With its scalable architecture, fast transaction speeds, low fees, robust military-grade security, cross-chain compatibility, and cost-effective enterprise-grade solutions. To learn more and stay updated, visit XinFin.org and engage with our community via xdc.dv. Together, we are shaping a decentralized and interconnected world.
Wow. Hi. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to XDC APAC podcast. Your host, Sonny Mohanty. So today we have something genuinely interesting for you. A project called Protein Markets built on the XDC network, doing something that is rare in this space. Real industrial infrastructure, real operations, and a token structure designed to reflect that. My guest today is Frine, who is the business representative and growth initiatives lead at the Honduras operation behind Protein Markets, a company that is doing something genuinely unusual in the crypto space. So what they've done, they built business first, the token came second. And I think that's a story worth hearing in full. Frine, welcome to the show. Great to have you here.
Thank you so much, Sonny. Really happy to be here and to share a bit more about what we're doing with our company.
Perfect, Frine. So before we get into the blockchain side of this, I want to go right back to the beginning, Frine, because what makes Protein Markets unusual is that the story does not start with a white paper. Usually, when you have this blockchain, first thing you talk about a white paper. after the team structure is done. So it starts with a family business for you, a supply chain, and a problem that kept showing up on the ground. Your family entered the protein industry in El Salvador about 13 years ago, right? What was the actual problem you kept running onto on the ground?
Well, the main challenge we faced was supply chain constraints and inconsistent product availability. My family entered the protein industry about 13 years ago through animal protein import and distribution in El Salvador. As we grew, we realized that demand was strong, but supply wasn't always reliable. Despite having producers and cattle in the region, the industry remains fragmented and with limited investment in modern processing infrastructure. At times, we had to wait weeks for producers to arrive, and we even had to purchase from local competitors and to meet customer demand. That's when we realized that if we wanted to scale, we couldn't keep depending entirely on outside infrastructure. What started as a distribution business evolved into a bigger vision, building infrastructure that could make the regional protein supply chain more efficient.
Yeah, great. You don't want to buy from competitors locally, to be honest. That's not a great business model to have. So yeah, from the day one, this was never just a trade play. It was an infrastructure play, as you just emphasized on that. So that distinction shapes everything that follows. And it brings me to the scale of problem you're trying to address, right? To understand the scale of what you're trying to solve, that's a number that keeps coming up in conversations about this region itself. $2 billion. Yes, I said it correctly, $2 billion. So that's the estimated annual economic cost of protein deficiency across Central America, the whole of Central America. So finally, Frine, that's a huge number. It's a big number, right? Finally, help us visualize what that actually looks like, that number itself.
Well, it affects much more than people realize. Actually, when we talk about protein deficiency, we're only not talking about food access because it impacts productivity, health, economic development, and long-term growth opportunities across the region, which at the same time, Central America has a strong agricultural and livestock potential. This is an issue since that's the infrastructure hasn't always evolved at the same pace. So you end up with this disconnect where production exists, demand exists, but the supply chain still inefficient. That's a really gap we're trying to help solve with this huge number going on.
Perfect. That sounds promising. So here you go. So, Frine, you have this regional deficit on one side, and when you zoom out to the global picture, the dynamic flips, right? Because demand for animal protein worldwide is actually rising, right? That tension between the local scarcity that you have and the global demand is where the opportunity lives, right? That's what we believe. So is that the opportunity you are stepping into? Is that the opportunity you are trying to tap into over here?
Yeah, exactly. We see ourselves as part of a much larger global opportunity. Demand for protein continues to grow worldwide, but many regions are still struggling with supply chain pressure and infrastructure limitations. So our goal is to position Central America and our region as a stronger and more efficient participant within that global chain supply. The location of the facility in Honduras is strategic because it allows us to connect regional supply more efficiently while also opening export opportunities over time. We're not thinking only globally, we're thinking about how to build something scalable long term.
Yeah, amazing. So you have your base in El Salvador and you expanded your business to Honduras. Am I correct?
Right.
Awesome. So, Frine, So a lot of listeners today would be coming from the Web3 or the crypto space, as you say, right? Might hear protein processing and wonder what that actually looks like day to day, right? Not everybody understands the business because we don't. Obviously, I think there is a lot of awareness around protein consumptions all over the world, as rightly put. But I mean, people wouldn't know, especially that small segment of people who we are targeting today. They wouldn't know about protein processing, right? So let's just make it concrete. If I were to flew out to your facility in Honduras and walked the door, what would I actually see? What does protein markets look like in practice day to day?
Just to have an idea, it's a typical day. It's a very high energy. It starts with the cattle arriving at the facility and moving through
Oh,
specialized processing stages. We have dedicated teams managing everything from processing and cold chain logistics to packaging and distribution. You will see a real industrial operations with logistics, cold chain management, inventory, transportation, and coordination with suppliers and customer relations. So for us, that's very important because this project did not started digitally. The operational always came first.
yeah. Oh, wow. Amazing. I love to go there. Okay. So we have real trucks, real cold storages, real logistics. And then, as you said, there's a digital layer on the top of it, right? Again, I would want to zoom in one part of the operation that I think a lot of our listeners won't be familiar with, right? I want to ask about something, the zero waste rendering, because I think a lot of listeners haven't heard of that term before. How would you describe in plain language what you do as a business, and what does it mean, and why does it matter economically?
Well, in simple terms, it means maximizing the use of the entire process and minimizing waste.
Okay.
Instead of focusing on just one output, different parts of the animal can be utilized in different ways. Our
Wow.
operation consists actually on three key facilities. The first is
Mm-hmm.
the main protein processing plant, where livestock is transformed into high quality protein products. The second is
Mm-hmm.
the water waste treatment facility, which
Right.
ensures environmentally responsible operations. And the third one is the rendering plant, where animals' byproducts are processed and converted into value-added products, including pet food. So economically, that matters because it improves efficiency, creates additional value streams, and makes the operation more sustainable long term. It's really about operating smarter and using infrastructure more efficiently.
Amazing. Smarter infrastructure. Okay, great. Amazing, amazing. So my next question, that brings me to the next question. So if I understand from you, like we had a discussion before this as well, your facility is in what's called the, just for the sake of for the audience that we have today, your facility is in what's called the Canal Seco corridor. Am I correct in pronouncing that
Yeah,
Seco?
Canal
Yeah.
Seco
Okay.
corridor. Yes, you're right.
Okay, okay. And you keep coming back to the geography as a strategic advantage, because you've spoken this before, and you mentioned why Honduras, because there are other countries in Central America as well. But obviously you have plans to go global. But why Honduras first? So why does the location matter so much in this business specifically, Ms. Frine?
Because geography is extremely important because logistics directly impacts efficiency, transportation costs, scalability, and access to the markets. Being located in the Canal Seco corridor give us strategic regional connectivity. It allows us to move products more efficiently across different countries, especially in Central America, and create
Right.
stronger export potential long term. For this type of business, location is not just convenience; it's part of our operational strategy.
Yeah. Awesome. Got it. Got it. Feel free to ask any questions on the comment section. We're happy to take all those questions, and Frene is happy to get them get them answered for you. Amazing. All right, something that came to know about Canal Seco corridor, to be honest, after I researched your project. That's amazing. So yeah, that's great, Frine. So another thing, one more thing that there are many things, but one more thing that gives this operation a different kind of stability compared to a lot of other projects we see in the space is how it generates revenues. At the end of the day, the goal is to generate revenue, isn't it? So the protein markets is purely business to business, right? So what I understand is purely business to business, no consumer facing retail, no volatile end user demand. So I just want to understand why that choice was made. Was it a conscious, like, you really wanted to have a B2B model from the very beginning? Because if you see, the B2C market is quite huge. But anyway, but that's not the point. The point is, why would that, was it like strategic decision from the very beginning when you started this business?
It was a completely deliberate choice for us to make. The B2B business model allow us to focus on operational scale, long-term commercial relationships,
Okay.
and have more stable demand structure. So it also creates more predictability from both a logistics and revenue standpoint, because we're working directly with businesses and distribution channels rather than depending on individual consumer fluctuations.
Okay, got it. So that was a very strategic decision from the very
Yeah.
beginning of the onset of when you started this business. Okay, great. I think we now spoke about the actual business that you have. There is obviously another element to it. We have a blockchain component. We have a token as well. Besides having a real industrial business, real operations, real revenue, people are going to ask, I mean, why would you like to bring a token into it at all, right? I mean, that's the question I used to get asked, like, I can do this, I can do that without the token event, right? I mean, some people do ask, and you have to obviously answer that. So this is the part where I think the protein markets story gets genuinely interesting. So Frine, what does a protein processing company, I mean, why does a protein processing company need a token? And how does these two worlds connect, like token, blockchain, and protein processing?
Okay, I think that's a very fair question. For us, tokenization is simply a bridge. The business already exists, the production, the clients, the operations, the infrastructure. What blockchain and tokenization allow us to do is to create a digital layer around that ecosystem that brings more transparency, visibility, and access. And we're also exploring how blockchain can help on the payment side, enabling different type of payments by potentially also accepting crypto and stable coins for cross-border transactions. So the technology is not replacing the business, it's supporting and modernizing something that already exists.
Perfect. So I gather that's more technology coming as an enabler to your business, a layer on top of your business to enable, expand, okay, and the reach. But you have a traditional business, Frine, and you could have gone to a bank easily, right? You could have raised equity, private equity, or maybe gone down traditional investor route, right? I mean, why specifically? Again, I come down to this question because I get asked this question. I mean, obviously, when the real world asset tokenization space was very nascent and very new, people used to ask, oh, why do we need to tokenize anything at all? I mean, we do have access to that commodity, that asset already in some form or the other. So again, why did you choose tokenization instead of going to a bank or a traditional route to a private investor?
Well, certainly traditionally financing still plays an important role in our company, but tokenization opens access to a much more global ecosystem. It also creates a different level of transparency and visibility around the project. From our perspective, tokenization allow us to connect global participants to our real operating business in a way that traditionally has been much more closed and inaccessible. So we saw it as an opportunity to modernize the structure while still staying grounded in a real business.
Yeah, I like that. Inaccessible, illiquid, and that's where tokenization blockchain comes in. That's great. Great answers, Frine, so far. So again, another thing that sets this project apart. I really love this project because I'll give you a little bit information about my background later, for the sake of it, because I really love this project because it's real business, right? Is actually the key activity is verifiable on chain publicly at any time. One of the things that sets this project apart is that the key activity is verifiable on chain publicly at any time because of the blockchain component, right? So I think it is space where trust is often the biggest barrier. That's a meaningful decision choice. I mean, you would agree to that. I mean, obviously you deal with so many suppliers, distributors, and the space is obviously very, very traditional. So there is always a lack of trust. So I'm sure the decision for you to move into blockchain and tokenization must have been a very informed decision after you've done a lot of research and looked into the sort of advantages that the technology brings in. So as a business representative or growth lead for Cernal, why was transparency so important for you? I mean, personally, why would you think even transparency is very important or important?
Well, because we believe that trust is extremely important for us. As a family business, we've always operated based on long-term relationships and credibility. So one of the interesting things about blockchain technology is that it allows us certain process to be transparent and verifiable in a way that traditional system sometimes don't. So for us, the blockchain simply makes the business activity more visible.
Amazing. That's the right answer. I mean, that's obviously, blockchain technology has obviously been, given us that benefit of being transparent end to end, especially in supply chain business, which is very complex. You have so many different different parties in a supply chain business that it's so complex. But thanks to blockchain technology, I mean, now things are very transparent. I mean, it's so easy to do business these days. Okay, so since we're talking about blockchain, and obviously we are on the XDC podcast, for our audience who are already on the XDC ecosystem, this next part will resonate with them. Okay. But for anyone tuning in who is newer to the space, obviously there'd be people who are in this business and are not in the tokenization space or the crypto space. The choice of which blockchain to build on is not a small decision. I mean, obviously, when you have a real business, then obviously you have to choose a technology, be it a layer one chain or any other technology to sort of enable your business and take it further globally. It's a very hard decision. Obviously, it comes with a lot of commitment, investments. It shapes who you can reach, how fast you can operate, and what your transaction costs look like. Okay, so Protein Markets decided to choose XDC Network, right? So here's the catch. I mean, obviously, that's the unique thing about Protein Markets, that you decided to choose XDC Network. And I want to know exactly why, Frine. Why was the decision made, based on whatever factors you made the decision? Why did you choose XDC Network for your business?
Because we felt that XDC was aligned, and it aligned very well with the type of project we're building, because it focused on real world applications like trade and financing and business infrastructures. Since the project is rooted in a real operation and industrial activity, it was important to work within an ecosystem that also understands those type of use cases and that will evolve at the same pace of our growth.
Perfect. So, Frine, what's your token named as? Is it PMX?
PMX.
Yeah. Protein Markets, makes sense. So, coming to your token a little bit, we're not going to go technical details. We're not going to into all those technical details. and stuff. And for this podcast, maybe we'll have another session. But just an overview of the PMX token. The supply structure of PMX is something worth pausing on, obviously. The total supply is capped at 100 million tokens. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And that number only ever goes down because a portion of the revenue is used to buy tokens off the market and permanently remove them from circulation. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay. For anyone thinking about this from an economic standpoint, the dynamic is significant, right? How should someone think about the supply dynamic if they're looking out maybe for 5 years down the line?
The fixed supply structure is part of a long-term ecosystem design, but honestly, our main focus is not speculation, it's building the real business behind it. At the end of the day, long-term sustainability depends on whether there's real infrastructure, real execution, and real operating growth supporting that ecosystem.
Perfect. Got it. Obviously, I think we all believe in sustainable businesses, not on speculation, obviously, as business owners, as stakeholders in any kind of project. I would like to ask you a very personal question next. So, yeah, I always think the most important conversations are the honest ones. And I want to be very straight with your audience here as well. So, any investment in any project carries a risk, right? Be it commodity price swings, regulatory uncertainty, operational complexity in an emerging market like Salvador, right? So these are real factors. Let's talk about them. I just want to know what keeps you up at night.
Well, actually, like any other real business, there's always risks. Operational complexity, logistics, commodity pricing, infrastructure, regulations. Of course, all of those matters. But I think the most important thing is building something sustainable and adaptable long term rather than focusing only on short term growth. Our focus is to grow step by step, first strengthening the operation, expanding the business, improving
Right.
processes, and increasing capacity. At the same time, we're working on how this digital side evolves alongside that growth.
Wow. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Frine, talking about the PMX token, right? What happens when the business, I mean, obviously in business, because we're talking about risk, right? I mean, every business has a good month or a bad month, right? So part of the facility revenue goes towards buying and removing tokens from the circulation, talking about the PMX token, right? So if revenue dips, just instance, hypothetically, of a bad month, right? What does that mean? Is there any protection built in for that?
Yeah, the ecosystem is connected to the real operation of a business, so naturally, operational performance matters. But I think what's important is that everything is tied to something tangible and transparent rather than disconnected from reality. That's also why our long term focus remains on strengthening that actual operation and infrastructure behind the project.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I think, yeah, I told you it's going to be 30 minutes, but slightly overrun. So before we wrap up this podcast and for the audience as well, I really want to ask you something that stuck me in the first time I saw this project, right? The tagline, right? Real protein, real revenue, real burn. 3 words. Obviously repeated 3 times. It feels like a deliberate statement, a pushback against a lot of what has defined the crypto space in recent years, right? Real, real, real. So exactly, I mean, what message are you sending with this taglines, Frine?
The message is that there's something real behind the project. We're not trying to create hype around technology alone.
Right.
The foundation's still a real business with operations, production, customers, revenue, and real people. The blockchain side simply brings more visibility and transparency to that ecosystem.
Perfect. While you were answering, I was listening to you as well. I was looking at the comments that's come through. I think there are quite a lot of comments that we can probably take one or two before I wrap up. So my last question, Frine, to you, and this one's for the listener who's never bought a token in their life, but who hears the story and thinks, you know what, I believe in what these people are building. So what's the one thing you want them to walk away understanding about protein markets?
Before we close, I like people to remember one thing. Protein market starts with a real business. Behind the technology, there are real operations, infrastructure, and people working every day to build something meaningful. Our goal is simply to use innovation to make that business more transparent, more accessible, and more scalable for the future.
Amazing. So thank you, Frine. Let's just quickly look at these questions and comments that we have. Does it mean the markets are proteins? I guess yes. And is protein markets token live?
Yeah.
It's live. Okay. I mean, we'd have another session. We're going to deep dive into the tokenomics of the project PMX protein markets. But would you know on top of your head what's the price of the token currently?
Not really.
No
Actually,
worries. We can get back to Hilton Tom later with his question. Okay, fine. Okay, Frine, this has been a genuinely fascinating conversation. I mean, you are sitting in El Salvador, I'm sitting in Singapore. You know, this is amazing. I feel great.
yeah.
Like we are 14 hours out, and thank you so much for taking the time to come on and walk us through all of this, from the supply chain challenges in Central America, which is new for me to learn, to know, right to the on-chain mechanics that you've done for your project PMX on the XDC network. I really appreciate it. Any last words from you before we wrap up, or?
Well, actually, just thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to be here, and thanks everyone listening.
Great. So for everyone tuning in today, this was Frine, business representative and growth initiatives lead for the Honduras operation behind protein markets, building on the XDC network. Hey, you have the link now here. Learn more about protein markets at https protein.markets. As simple as that. So yeah, I'm Sonny Mohanty from XDC Network, the APAC podcast host. If you enjoyed today's episode, which I did very much, talking to Frine and knowing about a new business segment all the way in Central America, in El Salvador, make sure you subscribe to my channel, XTC APAC podcast, and go and look at PMX token, go and look at XDC network. And so if you have missed this episode, don't worry, we're going to obviously publish this later as well for you to have a look at, and probably contact Frine and the team at PMX. Thank you for watching. Thanks for the questions coming in. We'll try to get them answered as soon as possible. And have a great day, and see you all in the next one. Thank you, Frine. Thank you so much for your time again.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.
Have a good day. Bye.